with SmackDown tonight by every metric is expected to draw the lowest viewership in show history coming on July 4th. The company had two options: to either completely throw away the show or load it up in hopes of offsetting some of the drop, seeing SmackDown on the night going more in the direction of the second option by promoting two major title matches from the start, with the main event Undisputed title match of Taker vs Angle with a week of hype along with an impromptu tag titles match of Hogan and Edge challenging Billy and Chuck for the tag belts, opening the broadcast with what seemed like a patriotic start on Independence Day turning into a major heat angle with the new Canadian group of Test Christian and Storm interrupting the anthem to cut a heel promo on the country, seeing SmackDown over the first half hour of the show featuring the Canada vs US angle along with two matches of Rikishi vs Storm and Devon and Batista vs Val and Orton, expectedly opening with the lowest rated segment in its 3-year history, drawing a 1.8 rating with 2.8 million viewers, breaking the previous record low by a 700,000 viewers margin set in the opening segment on May 2, which started at a 2.3 rating with 3.5 million viewers, with the company facing a massive contrast between this Thursday and the next, going from anticipating a record low audience on the night to targeting a strong viewership boost for July 11 with heavy hype for Rock's SmackDown return to start his full-time run into the summer, set to make his first appearance on the show since April 4 to start the build to the Rock vs Taker Vengeance pay-per-view match, with several recent SmackDown highlight moments of Rock shown throughout the next 2 hours. With Brock Lesnar being fast-tracked into a headlining position on Raw just 3 months after his TV debut. The SmackDown side saw the other 3 members of his OVW class in Orton and Batista getting more prominent TV time in tag matches over the past 2 weeks, along with John Cena in his second week after debuting against Angle last Thursday, being placed in another featured segment with McMahon and Jericho to set up Jericho vs Cena for later tonight in a talked about backstage segment that allegedly stirred things up behind the scenes, with perhaps the biggest backstage news story of the week in the industry coming yesterday from Nashville at the 3rd TNA pay-per-view, with Vince Russo, while still working for WWE as a creative consultant with him since the talked about creative meeting a day after the official announcement of him being hired by the company 2 weeks ago on Friday, June 21, reportedly showing up backstage at the TNA show along with Glenn Gilberty after notifying the WWE office in advance of his plan to attend the event, with Russo since the phone call with McMahon that moved him to a consultant from his originally planned role as the creative supervisor, having weekly calls with writer Brian Gowertz as part of his new role to go over the TV scripts and suggest new changes and ideas, bringing up questions on Russo's future for both companies going forward due to his close relationship with Jeff Jarrett, who looked to offer Russo a full-time job as the company's head writer. The Fleet Center in Boston erupted with Hulk Hogan after another vintage night last Saturday in New York for his first appearance in Madison Square Garden in over a decade, making his entrance with a classic Real American song for the first time since his last WWF run in 1993, with Edge, who grew up as a big Hogan fan, commenting on the match right after the SmackDown taping on Tuesday, saying that it was one of the biggest highlights of his career, with him reminding himself during the match that he's part of it instead of just watching it as a fan, noting that coincidentally the match, which was his first match back since the injury in the Angle cage match on May 28, also taking place on the 9th anniversary of his first ever match in the business, with the Boston crowd giving Hogan massive reactions throughout the match to see it after the record low first hour on the night, averaging 2.9 million viewers, bumping SmackDown over 800,000 viewers in the biggest viewership spike of the night to one of 2 quarters to cross the 4 million viewers range, ending up with a double leg drop finish with the building exploding for Hogan and Edge winning the tag belts in the biggest reaction of the night. moving Hogan for the first time in his career to more of a support special attraction role until the eventual Hogan vs. McMahon feud officially kicks off, while looking to elevate Edge alongside Hogan a step closer to being a main event player in the near future. Jericho vs. Cena was next, going over the majority of the top of the hour quarter with Jericho after a heated message on his website criticizing the internet audience over the response to the King of the Ring pay-per-view last Sunday, responding to the reaction to his comments this time on the company website on Tuesday, saying that the internet has turned into a negative dark place where the focus is always on what they think didn't work instead of the majority of the show that did, with the Jericho-Cena match on the night and the earlier backstage segment to set it up also seeing some additional internet drama with conflicting reports on the original plan for the show after talk of several creative members originally pushing for Cena to slap Vince McMahon in the backstage office skit in an attempt to make an immediate impact to further establish him as a potential top player after the Angle debut match last week, before the segment ended up being switched to Cena slapping Jericho instead, with Triple H allegedly involved in the discussion to have it changed, with Jericho, who also agreed on the new 3-year contract with the company with his original deal signed in 1999 expiring this month, being placed in a feud with a debuting rookie, while McMahon is being saved for the eventual Hogan match set for either the SummerSlam pay-per-view next month or WrestleMania 19 next year, with SmackDown after the spike for the Hogan Edge title win holding steady throughout the second hour to average 3.6 million viewers on the back of the top 2 title matches, seeing the show despite the impact of the holiday night at least having a strong viewing pattern throughout the broadcast, with an increase of over 900,000 viewers from start to finish, with the main event coming up next. After a week of hype on both Raw and SmackDown with the match set up last Thursday, Angle and Undertaker made their entrances earlier than usual with 20 minutes to go from the top of the hour in a similar formatting to the Taker-Hardy match from last Monday, going 10 minutes in total to headline the special Independence Day broadcast, ending up as expected the lowest rated show in the brand's 3-year history with a 2 overall rating, breaking the record 2.9 rating set on May 2nd, while in viewership setting it by over 1.2 million viewers from the 4.5 million on that night to 3.26 million viewers tonight, with the number, which was widely predicted in the company, not causing major concern due to the circumstances of airing on the toughest TV day of the year, with further evidence of it being the 5% share of the broadcast coming in at normal SmackDown levels, with just way less people in general watching television on the night, with the Angle vs. Taker title match ending in a simultaneous double pinfall submission finish, with Taker tapping out for the first time in his career, gaining over 500,000 viewers throughout to peak the night with over 4 million viewers, closing the show in an unusual formatting with a final commercial break taking place at 9:55 p.m. before the cliffhanger finish, with the match result still not clear to set the stage heading into one of the most hyped SmackDowns of the year next Thursday for Raw's TV return.